Hey everybody, welcome to episode 12 of the AskDAP show, where we answer your Volkswagen and Audi questions. Today we're going to be trying things a little bit different. We're going to be doing model-specific questions. That way we try to keep a theme to each episode. This episode is going to be Mark 6 questions. The next episode will be different, possibly Mark 5, Mark 6, Mark 7. That really depends. We're going to try to segment it so that we can give you episodes that are relevant to your specific model. That way the entire episode is more interesting to you as an individual. So let's get into the questions.
Victor247 on Vortec is getting the fault code 01309 power steering control module J500 on a 2012 GTI. He wants to know if the module needs to be reset or does it need to be replaced.
Okay, Victor, so the J500 module is actually a control module that's built in the steering rack. The Mark 6 GTI has electromechanical power steering, which is different because historically most models had standard hydraulic power steering where they would use a hydraulic pump and fluid that's run by the belt that's run off your engine to give you power steering. Now, most current model VWs starting in around 05 had electromechanical power steering, which used electronic motors to control the power steering. The J500 module is a part of that system and unfortunately is not serviceable separately. It is actually part of the steering rack. So unfortunately, if indeed it does need to be replaced and it can't be reset, which is something obviously you should probably try first, is getting it reset, see if the codes can be erased. If it can't be done, then you're going to have to replace your steering rack, which we'll link up here.
Has anyone else had this problem? My passenger window won't roll up or down from the driver's switch. I know it isn't the window itself because it rolls up and down from the passenger door switch. And if so, how did anyone get this fixed?
Okay, so the passenger door window not rolling up, obviously you've kind of addressed it properly in the fact that you know that it rolls up from the passenger side, but on the driver's side switch it won't roll up. So most likely what you're having is a window switch problem. The one thing I will caution you to be aware of is that it's going to be obviously the driver's side switch is a master switch. It's all paired together, all the switches, and so obviously the switch for the passenger window is having a problem. Or another possibility is something that happened on previous models, which I've never heard of it happening on a Mark 6 GTI, but doesn't mean it can't happen, is the wiring at the door hinge from opening and closing constantly will fray over time and then cause it to have a bad connection. So you could have a bad window switch, or it could be that wiring. It's easy to check that wiring because if it is messed up, it's usually very visibly damaged. So you can just pull back the boot where the wiring goes through and inspect it and see if there is some fraying there. As long as that's not the case, it's very likely to be the window switch, which we'll link up that as well.
Victor247 on Vortex has a 2012 GTI with a DSG. It's blown an airbag and is now having following codes: 18036 powertrain data bus, P1628 missing message from steering angle sensor. Can the sensor go bad after the airbag was blown? All the steering wheel controls still work. Any help is appreciated.
Okay, so Victor, we actually didn't realize when we got both these questions together that they were both from the same guy. Obviously the previous question was about the steering rack assembly, which has the module built into it. This is a code that points to the steering angle sensor, which is actually in the clock spring, which is right basically behind the steering wheel is where the steering angle sensor is mounted. So when you have any electrical problems like this, and the fact that the airbag went off could most likely points to the fact it probably needs a new clock spring, which generally the steering angle sensor is built into that. But it also could be other things related to it, because whenever you get into a car accident and the airbags deploy, there's a lot of things associated with those systems that have issues. Like for example, airbag sensors need to be replaced. Airbag modules almost always have to be replaced whenever the airbags go off or are in a collision where the airbags deploy. The module itself needs to be replaced as well, along with the sensors and the airbags and everything else. So most likely you have a clock spring problem. This is something that has a basic setting, so you can go in with VAGCOM if you have one. If not, you should bring it to a shop who can help you, because there is, I believe, a basic setting for the steering angle sensor pretty much on all cars that have them. So that should help you resolve that problem. We'll link up the clock spring with steering angle sensor in the description below. Okay, so the data bus missing message fault, just to tie that into what we were talking about with the airbags deploying, it's likely to be the missing message fault is actually because modules aren't communicating. That could be something that's residual from a module either being out of the vehicle and the key was turned on, so it was trying to talk to another control module in the car, but then it wasn't plugged in, so it's like, oh, okay, it's not, there's no module here, and so it sends a missing message fault. Or you could have a bad control module for whatever specific module it's pointing to, and that could be the cause of your issue. So this is really what it boils down to with this situation is when you have a collision and you're replacing all this stuff, I usually advise bring it to somebody who is super familiar with the cars, because otherwise this becomes like a nickel and dime thing where you're going to be like, okay, replace this, okay, replace this, and then you just feel like you're going down a rabbit hole that you're never going to get out of. So take it to somebody who can help you address all these individual issues, because there's a lot of complicated potential solutions to all those problems, and that should help you solve your problem. Thank you for watching episode 12 of the AskDAP show. If you want your questions answered, shoot us an email, info@shopdap.com.